Firstly, I must correct this point that the protests are there because government is failing to deliver. It's not true. The bulk of what I've been saying today was saying we are faced with an unusual situation in this country where the majority of people were deprived resources, put in rural areas, some put in what was called homelands, not to come to where economy were. There is a history why the question of the demand is too high than what you can give. But we are doing all we can to do so. Secondly, the protests don't just come because there are resources only. There are other reasons that cause protests in other areas. At times it is conflict among people who are in those areas that influence protests in one form or the other. Some protests about, for an example, by the students, different than the services we are talking about, but acting exactly the same. So we are addressing that as government, and people know it. Some of the protests are because people are impatient that in the area next door, there is delivery already, why not here? And then they get agitated by the very delivery that they see. Your last part of the question is saying, shouldn't I consider sending the money direct to the municipalities or whatever, instead of the proper channels? The division of the budget, what is given to provinces and municipalities, is a constitutional matter. It's not a matter that needs a president to stand up and say, now we do it this way. You will stand up here and say, this president does not respect the Constitution. It needs you, if you think you need to change the Constitution so that you make that proposal so that it can be discussed by this House. You can then change the Constitution so that it is not the man, the president. It is the parties all put together who change the Constitution in order to meet the proposal you are making. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.